I want to first make a couple of preliminary statements. That Islam is a religion that's growing in America at an alarming rate. Why do I say alarming? Because I must admit tonight, and I want to show you why, that there are some interests in America and around the world who are very concerned with this rapid growth of Islam. There are between 6 and 9 million Muslims in America, growing at a tremendous pace. And this growth of Islam in America is also duplicated around the world. I returned from a trip to Norway and was shocked to learn how many Muslims in Norway and how many masjids in Norway. I went to visit some of them. Same thing in Germany, same thing in France, same thing in Belgium, all throughout Europe. As many Muslims as we have in America, there are more Muslims in England proportionately than there are in the United States of America. Islam is growing at a tremendous, tremendous speed in this country. Let's put it in perspective. If there are in fact 9 million Muslims in America, and if each Muslim dedicated themselves to bring in one new convert in 1 year, there will be 18 million Muslims in America. This should not frighten the American people, but according to some people in positions of authority, the numbers 18 million scares them, and tonight I want to tell you why. I just returned from a trip around the country. This is Islam Awareness Week in many cities. Is being duplicated what's happening tonight in many colleges and universities. And Monday, when I returned to New York City for a few moments, actually literally for about 2 hours, to catch another flight to go to a place called Champaign, Illinois, I saw an article that appeared in the New York Post, a big spread on Islam, and it's entitled Islam on the Rise. And I have the copy here if anyone would like to make a photocopy of it. Very interesting article. But one of the things that it said is that there are 1,000 Muslim students, I'm sorry, 100,000 Muslim students attending public school in New York City. You're talking about, this is what the article said, you're talking about in New York City, over 100 mosques, 17 full-time Muslim schools, and thousands of Muslim businesses. Everywhere you look in America, you see Muslims and signs of Islam. I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. How many of you either have a classmate or a schoolmate that's a Muslim? Raise your hand. How many have a Muslim neighbor? Muslims in your family? Well, I know you're Muslim yourself. I'm not talking to you. Muslim professors, Muslim students, professionals, doctors, lawyers. Okay. So everywhere you look, we are being exposed to Muslims. How many of you, like myself, like basketball? Hakeem Olajuwon, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, Sharif Abdul Rahim, Abdul Wahid from Sacramento. And everywhere you go now, you see again, even in the professional sports, you see the Islam. It should not be a problem for the masses of the people of America, but it does represent a problem for some interest group. And before I leave tonight, I'm going to share that with you. Let me first now, and by the way, it's just interesting. Just pardon me for 1 second. I have here this picture, and I'm going to let Mustafa be the first one to look at it. Now, and he's laughing. I'm going to tell you why he's laughing in a minute. Here's a picture that appeared in the Post on Monday, And I want you to take a look at it. It's an article about the rise of Islam. Now, why are you guys laughing? Wait a minute. Why are they laughing? I'm going to let you see it too. Can you see it back there? You can't see it? Pass it down there. I want to see if they laugh too. And probably the reason that they're laughing is that it's typical. Almost every time they write an article about Muslims and the rise of Islam, they have that picture, don't they? What picture is it? What's happening? What kind of picture is it? Right? Do you agree with me? It's a picture. You ever see Muslims pray? When a Muslim is in the most humbled position, it's called prostration or sajda. And that is they're down literally with the head on the ground. Every article, every spread that I've seen about Islam, for some reason, always have that picture in the Muslims in a very humbled position. Let me first say this. I want to share with you our perspective of what are we doing here in America, and should the American people be afraid of us. First, some preliminary discussion. Islam is growing at a rapid pace in this country for three reasons. Number one, immigration. Last year, 1996, a record number of immigrants became citizens of the United States of America. 1,100,000 immigrants became citizens in 1996. Among those 1.1 million, many of them were Muslims. Not all of them, not the majority, but many of them. How many Muslims in the audience have either migrated to this country or your parents migrated to this country? Raise your hand. Okay. So you see in the audience a significant number have come to this country to add to the number of Muslims in this country. By the way, you may be shocked to learn that in the former Soviet Union, there are more than 30 million Muslims. In China, over 36 million Muslims. In a country like India, where Muslims represent a minority of the population, 11.4% of the population in India are Muslims. Yet if you took all the Muslims in India and put them together, they would represent the 11th most populated nation on the earth. 106 million Muslims in India, a minority in India. All over, in Africa, in Japan, and all over the world, you see this growing phenomenon of Muslims. So Islam is growing in America for three reasons. Number one, immigration. Number two, believe it or not, Muslim women have babies. And usually, a person has the same religion and inherit the religion of their parents. From 1946 to 1964, there was a special growth in this country. 75 million babies were born. And these people had a special designation. What are they called? Baby boom. This is the baby boom generation. In the next 2 decades, this baby boom generation will inherit $22 trillion. That they will get money from others, not as a result of any work that they did, simply inheriting from their parents. In the same way that people inherit wealth, they also inherit religion. Most Jews, not all of them, are Jews because their parents were Jews. Most Christians because their parents were Christians. And most Muslims, many of them, Muslims because their parents were Muslims. So people inherit their religion, Buddhism and Hinduism and things like that. And so, likewise, Muslims have children, and that add to the increase of the Muslims in this country. And I have a confession to make. I have 9 children. And that means I have greatly added to the increase of the Muslims in this country. Oh, you like that? So, Islam is growing, immigration, number 2, through birth. And number 3, through a thing called proselytizing. Muslims inviting people to become Muslims, and as a result of that. How many of you are the children of Muslim parents? Raise your hand. Okay. Third question. How many of you, like me, used to be of another religion and converted or reverted to Islam? Raise your hand. So in the audience tonight, you find all three. Those who immigrated to this country, added to the population of Muslims in this country. Number two, those born to Muslim parents. And number three, those converted to the religion of Islam. So let me put that out the way now.